Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Bouncing down the stairs into your underwear. We are the gummy bears.
I never liked the gummy bears. My friend Anna, she was rich, so they had the Disney Channel. And I was like, ugh, gummy bears. I don't even want the Disney Channel. I want the Disney Channel.
It wasn't that great of a show, but that theme, I know we talked about the theme before on one of the past episodes, sticks in my head, and I'm eating gummy bears. So, you ever bite the heads off the gummy bears and then spit the head out and trade the head colors? Like a red and a clear, and you put the red head on the clear and the red.
I love that. But no, I have not done that. I don't get candy like that usually. If I'm getting a candy, it's going to be like chocolate based.
Some people dump the gummy bears into their M&Ms.
That's like...
No, it's not as bad as you think. I'm with you for the most part, and I don't do it.
Yeah, the texture difference is not working for me.
I think it's not as bad as you think. If you tried it, you'd say, oh, wow. But I have no desire to actually do it. Clear are the best.
Well, I never understood that thing where you put something in your popcorn. What did people say?
M&Ms.
Yeah, M&M. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense. I thought, no, it was Milk Duds.
Oh. I mean, people eat caramel corn.
That's true.
So it's not that crazy.
You're right. Ugh.
The clear ones, these clear are the best. And if you put a clear in your mouth and then you bring it out and it's covered in saliva, it's actually pretty clear.
Pineapple? Because I think that's the sort of clearish lifesaver is pineapple, right?
Yeah, it's pineapple.
Love pineapple.
Not actual pineapple, though. That's disgusting.
What? I love actual pineapple.
Real pineapple is gross.
Why?
It just is. I don't know, the texture stringy.
Oh. That's fine. That's fine with me. But I guess I don't mind it because I really love pineapple.
Stringy fruit. Getting stuck in your teeth.
Gregor doesn't like the stringy fruit.
Strings are stuck in your teeth.
Welcome to One Topic. Stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
What is so funny?
I wasn't sure when to start, and I felt really confident about when I was going to start. And then when I started, I immediately regretted it. So there's a lot going on right when I started saying it. Okay, go.
How many times now have we played the theme live instead of me adding it in post? 10?
I thought I was going to say under 10.
Maybe it's around 10.
Yeah, maybe.
You'll get it.
Well, it's only when you say. I have a different place it should be.
I know. Anyway.
So I have to decide I have to think about where you think it should be and
where
then ignore my instincts.
Where it's been the whole time that we've had a show.
That's because you edit it in.
I know, but that's where it's been. So to just switch it up after 183, 84 episodes.
True.
We just did episode 183. We should have talked about homicide, police code 183, life on the streets, homicide, Baltimore, Lieutenant Munch, Detective Munch makes the crossover from the NBC series Homicide, Life on the Streets, to Law and Order, SVU.
Why do you know this?
It was pretty cool.
Wow, you know all the words, though. That's awesome.
I made that up.
Really?
Yeah, I was just pretending I was doing the promo. That was...
Oh my God, it sounded really good.
It was letting the listening audience know that Detective Munch, who you love from Homicide,
Munch.
Life on the Streets. What's that guy's name?
Munch, crunch.
What's his real name, the actor's name?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that show at all. Wait, is that Ice QT?
No. Richard Belzer.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Belzer, who once hosted that talk show and Hulk Hogan came on and dropped him on his head and cracked his... No, he didn't drop him on his head. He put him in the sleeper hold and he actually passed out. Richard Belzer passed out, then fell and hit his head.
Oh!
And he was bleeding on the show. And then he was pissed. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why he was so angry. You asked a wrestler to put you in the sleeper hold.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he said, "Come on, do it. Come on." He's like, "Well, I don't know." He's like, "Come on, come on, come on." You should watch that video. You can find it. It's interesting.
Oh my God, did you know Henry Winkler is his cousin?
No, but I can see some resemblance now.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, did you introduce yourself? Did you say your name?
I'm Autumn Fisher.
Yeah, I'm Greg Russ. Hello.
Hey.
So today's topic, you wanted to talk about popcorn.
I didn't really want to talk about popcorn.
No, you pushed popcorn a few times. You texted at popcorn. I just didn't respond.
Yeah.
And then when I first joined, you said popcorn. And I said,
yeah, but that's because it was my only idea. And it was just because I was eating popcorn at that moment. Popcorn.
Yeah. In which case, I could say tying shoes,
Right. Sneezing.
peeing,
Looking around your house.
and pooping a hard poop that cuts your butt open.
Is that happening?
No comment.
Oh no. That's
No. It's no comment.
constipation.
That ain't no topic. That's not the topic of tonight. Today,
No, tonight's topic is very important.
this morning, whenever the time is you're listening to this. So I just went back to the old random word generator, told it to throw me 10 words. And it gave me Voyage of the Mimi, made me think of.
Yes. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
But do you remember what, in Voyage of the Mimi, the captain at some point, I think it was the captain, got hypothermia.
Yes. And he made Ben Affleck get into his sleeping bag naked.
Well, he didn't because he was dying.
He's hypothermic.
But the rest of the people did. They said, "You got to take off your clothes, strip down, and we'll strip him down." And you two,
Why the kid though?
you two need to get. I think there were only kids on the ship, right?
No, there was a deaf lady, remember?
Well, either way,
Marla?
they kept their underwear on, but they had to get that body heat going. You can't
Yeah, but
have.
why make the kid do it? Get an adult in there. Wasn't there like a Native American that was a part of that group?
Oh, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, it's just another man. There's another human that's not a kid.
Saving
My
someone's.
first thought to help a hypothermic old man is not to like get the kid.
Well, yeah, your first thought is sexual, and that's the problem here because this is not a sexual situation at all. It's saving a man's life. So it doesn't matter if it's a kid, because
Let's just cut the kid open and slice open his belly and then just put the old man inside the kid. Keep warm.
that's not even a logical leap.
Yeah, it is. It happened in
I know what the reference is, but that's not a logical leap for this situation. And it's not like you drawing a comparison to say that it's ridiculous that the kid's the one who saved the captain's life. Putting it on the same plane as cut his gut open and shove the captain inside his body cavity. Get out of here.
I'm sorry. I was being silly.
We disagree, which was another word that popped up.
Oh, perfect.
Also, heal. Boring.
As in like you're ill and you must be healed?
Yes, not your foot heel. Or a wrestling
Or like
heel.
being a heel.
Yeah, wrestling. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Belzer.
Bell's palsy.
Parade. Supply. Crossing. Beam. Native. Comedy.
Let's just get to the one you got that we chose.
What was the last one on the list?
Oh.
You really wanted to do this one. Courage. I said courage.
Yeah.
And you said, yes, I'm the most courageous person on the face of the planet.
That's me.
So we should definitely do this.
Well, the first thing I thought was courage seems like it could be a sort of sexist concept because it seems like men are encouraged. Sorry. Men are encouraged to be courageous more than women are. And then that made me think about maybe that sometimes courage is really skewed, right? I think that you brought up. Did you bring up climbing mountains?
Yeah, we'll get to that, climbing mountains, because I was just thinking about what courageous means. You're right. You're right. I guess that men are supposed to be courageous, though. That's changed these days. Nobody expects dudes to be courageous. We're on equal playing field. Women will be just as courageous as men. If somebody comes up with a gun and there's two of you on the street, take your pick, you say to the man with the gun. Because these days, I'm not going to disrespect my lady by pretending to be the courageous one. Maybe she wants to be the courageous one.
Yeah.
So she's going to take you down. She's going to knock you in the balls and kick that gun out of your hand and then shoot you in the kneecap. And then we're going to sit there and we're going to wait for the cops to come. And if you move, we'll shoot you in the other kneecap.
That's right. And she's also going to like cradle you because you've gotten so upset by the whole ordeal.
I feel like I would if that situation happened. And I'm not even one who buys into the gender norms to some extreme traditional level. I do think that there's certain things like going on a date, paying as a man, opening doors. They're just nice things to do. Yeah. I am still involved in it with a bit, but I don't take it to the extreme. But in that situation, I feel as though if a guy came up with a gun and I was with my girlfriend and she's the one who got the gun away from him and shot him in the knee, I don't know. I wouldn't feel so great about myself. I would want to be the one to do that, but also because the fantasy in my mind is that's really cool. It's like you had the audacity to come up with the gun. What did you think was going to happen? You fucking idiot. You chose me. Out of all the people, me, you got what you deserved. As your kneecap's shattered and you'll never walk again. Enjoy it.
Wait, are you saying that if the girlfriend wasn't the person that was going to do that, then you would do that and that they were stupid for picking you?
Well, I'm saying the guy who came up with the gun is stupid. It's like, me. You chose me, you moron. You surveyed the land and you said, that guy right there, he's the coward. He's the one without courage. I'm going to go, yeah, right. And I'd be very calm doing it, like always in these fantasies. I wouldn't panic or freak out. There'd be no cowering. I'd just say, really? Huh? And then grab that gun, twist his wrist so it snapped, knee him in the gut.
In the meantime, they pull the trigger.
Yeah, you stay out of the way. It's not that difficult.
Or you grab the gun and they pull the trigger and they miss you, but they hit the person you're with. True,
that's something that could happen. I can't explain that one away. Or it hits someone else.
Sure, yeah, just a bystander.
I also like the idea that I usually have like $4 in my wallet. It's like, give me your wallet.
Oh, and do they get mad at you for it?
Yes, then they shoot you. They're just pissed that you don't have a lot of money.
How dare you not have more money for me to take from you?
It's kind of ridiculous to rob people, mug them, because I don't think that many people carry cash these days and credit cards.
Well, I don't think that people are trying to get their money necessarily. They want their phones too.
Well, what good's the phone?
Well, you just take out the SIM card and sell it.
It's locked. No, because you go home and through Apple, if you have an iPhone, I'm sure Android has something similar. You just tell them that the phone's gone and they can brick it. It just becomes disabled.
I actually know that because I know all about stealing and I'm pretending like I don't. Oh, is that what happens? I don't know. Because I don't know anything about that.
And a wallet, the credit cards are very easy to cancel these days, very quickly. And half the time they pick up strange charges. Like, this is suspicious, and they won't let the charge go through.
Right. Even if your card hasn't been stolen, they're like, yo, is this you?
Yeah. And then we're sending you a text. Yes, it was me trying to withdraw $40 from an ATM that you're not familiar with. You know why I'm not using your ATM? Because your ATM was broken. Thank you, bank. And I had to walk to the one close by at the bodega. Now you're going to charge me $2.50 for using this ATM, even though I tried to use your ATM first, but yours was broken. This fee, what is this fee?
Yeah, fees are really fucking stupid.
$2.50 to use another ATM. That ATM, I go into a store and I use a generic ATM. Somebody charges me $1, $2. That's fine. That's their property. I'm using it. I've decided to use that.
But then the bank to charge you for not using their ATM?
It really pisses me off.
That's why I never do it. If I need to get cash, then I'll get cash back. If I don't go to the bank's ATM.
I tried to get Bank of America is what I have as my main bank. Even though at this point, my savings is with a credit union and all my savings is there. I keep a savings account open in Bank of America just to put money in for rent, and then I transfer it over to pay for rent. So at the beginning of the month, it has $30 in savings, and my direct deposit still goes there. But I have a credit card through Bank of America, and I wanted to raise the limit on it just because I was bored. I didn't need the increase in limit. It's already $20,000. I wanted $27,000. They sent me a letter and said, we examined your bank accounts and your balances are way too low.
Because of the transferring.
Because I don't keep, as soon as the money comes in a paycheck, I pay my bills, I put some in savings, I keep a little bit there for spending. I don't want them having access to my money. I should just cancel it all together, Bank of America, and go somewhere else. But, I guess.
You're a creature of habit, so that's difficult for you.
I mean, if we're talking about courage, I don't know if it's a cowardly move on my part, but it's like I don't want to call. Like quite often, you're gonna have to talk to someone, and they're gonna pressure you to stay. Though maybe not. You have $7 in checking and $19 in savings. Okay, please leave us. We don't want you here.
No, my way of thinking is they can't pressure you if you can't be pressured. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I don't want to deal with it. And quite often
there's no dealing. You're just like, no, I'm cool. Yeah, thanks, but no. I'm like, oh, okay. Once you show that you're, resolute about the whole thing, they're not gonna like, well, they're not gonna be like a passive aggressive mother.
Well, I like to do things in secret.
I guess we just weren't too good for you. I guess we weren't good enough for you as a bank. So
yeah,
I guess all those times we waived those fees, I guess that wasn't good enough for you.
And I would say,
we should make a business that pressures you like that.
They do pressure you like that. That's what they do. In essence, they're dancing around it a bit. And it's not as direct, but they're trying to say, "Oh, okay, we're not good enough for you, huh?" And I would want to say, "No, you're not. You guys are thieves. You're awful human beings who take people's money and then invest it, make more money off of it. Then you charge them $5 a month because they don't have enough balance." Or if they have too much money, you're saying, too many deposits, where that's another fee. So yes, you're awful.
Really?
But they have fees for everything.
Is there a fee for too many deposits?
Yes, there's fees for everything. Too many, if you have a savings account and you withdraw from it too many times, that's a fee within a month. Because they're giving you that huge interest rate of 0.02%.
Yeah, that's your bank. That doesn't happen in every bank.
This is a mainstream bank. This is what most banks do. This is why people hate
never
big
had
banks.
That. And I do a ton of transferring, back and forth.
Well, you're lucky. I'm sure that they have their own fees, but egregious.
No, because I go in and I say, I don't want an account that does that. I'm like, oh yeah, there's these. You can do that. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll do that. And then I chit chat with the lady because we're friends.
I don't like having those conversations when I'm leaving.
But it's so easy. They want to help you. People doing their job in that situation, they want to build a rapport with you so that you'll go to them when you need like a mortgage or a loan or a car, whatever loan. But like, yeah, they want to help you. They want to keep you as a customer.
They don't really want to help you. They want to help themselves.
No, the big company maybe feels that way, but the individual who works at the bank doesn't. They don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, fuck that. Let's get you something that works for you.
I find quite often, maybe when you go in, you're probably right. But when you're calling on the phone, those people, their job is specifically to help. But then because they're trained in customer service all around, and more than likely people are calling, like cable, for example. You can't cancel cable online. You have to call so they can pressure you. And so quite often I don't change things. I don't think this is me being a coward. I just don't want to deal with it.
Because with cable, it's not as personal. When you call a bank, you can call the actual branch and speak to, Deborah.
Or the gym. The gym was another example.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty that you have to go in person.
You can't do it online. You have to go in person. Mm-hmm. And then they still give you the runaround. You have to fill out forms, and it's a very difficult thing. And for whatever reason, throughout the whole process, at some point, I do feel guilty. I shouldn't, because I'm leaving for a reason. I don't want your cable because it costs $300 a month. I don't want your bank because you charge me asinine fees. I don't want your gym because I don't go. That's not your fault necessarily, but I shouldn't be giving you money. And they know that.
I'm not trying to be like better than you. But I just feel like when you go in and you know why you're quitting, it's very simple. No matter what they say, whatever they might be trying to sell you, you're like, I know that all sounds great, but I just don't go. It's just not happening. I'm not going. I recently canceled the gym thing that I was using to sort of do that semi-personal training because I really got it as like a jump start to working out in a different way to like, because I only knew how to do some cardio and I don't know, maybe like look for classes that I never wanted to go to because that just is what I've always known instead of doing what's called strength training. So, and I didn't know how to use the machines. I was intimidated. I go to Gold's Gym, which is like a weightlifting gym, like Mr. America or something. The troop that tries to get into Mr. America go to this gym sometimes. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, so I was very intimidated.
You should stay away from those weights. I hope you weren't trying to lift the weights because if you're an amateur who doesn't know how to lift the weights, those people are going to give you dirty looks.
Well, again, that's what I was.
They're probably going to film you.
That's really. I don't feel this way now, but initially, that was the type of thing I was afraid of. So I joined.
Those are my weights, and then they film you and they post it and say, "Look at this idiot."
No, it's a very inclusive environment these days.
And it gets a bunch of comments online with other weightlifters. I can't stand it when the amateur comes. Anyway.
Okay, so I joined this semi-personal training thing. It ended up being way more expensive than I anticipated. And I wasn't even taking full advantage of it because I wasn't going to the small classes, which was just like 4 people and one person who would be training you. And they came up with different exercises and like circuits for you to do that were based on you, which it was very helpful. And they sent you like food stuff, not actual food, but just diet plans, how to certain percentages of protein and fat. Anyway, so it was a very helpful thing. But like I said, I wasn't joining those classes because what I found was once I was sort of shown how to do certain things or how to use certain machines, I felt totally comfortable doing it on my own. And I did not enjoy the circuits that they were presenting for me. And anyway, so the point is that I wanted to quit. Looking in the contract, like there's no way to quit unless you have a doctor's note or you're in the military and you get sent overseas. It's like this very thing. So I just started emailing the people saying, yo, I just don't want to do this anymore. How do I get out of it? And they're like, well, you kind of can't because of this and because of that. I was like, I know, but it's just too expensive. I'm not using it. What should I do? And they're like, well, actually, part of your deposit can pay for the rest of these things. And then we could just cancel it. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. It was just being absolutely honest. And then I would see the person who was helping me every month who would like take measurements of my body and talked about, how I was doing and the progress. And if I had any questions and stuff like that, I still see her at the gym. And when I first saw her, I was like apologetic to her. I said, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, no, whatever. And I said, I was worried that I was taking away like a commission for them or something. She's like, no, it's not like that. We just get paid. Doesn't really matter. She's like, whatever works for you, you should do that. I was like, oh yeah, thanks. So facing those things instead of always thinking the like catastrophizing, which I think is an anxiety thing, is when you catastrophize situations so that you can avoid them. I think that when you don't do that, it's actually pretty helpful just to be really honest and talk to people about what you need and what you're looking for. And if the thing doesn't work anymore, just like with your bank or with my workout thing, it works out.
I don't want to deal with it for the most part. I think that's what drives.
There's no dealing. You're just communicating with someone.
There's plenty of dealing.
There's no dealing. You're just telling them.
Well, I don't like telling people what I want or need. I hated calling and ordering pizza on the phone back when that was a thing. And the advent of online ordering, What a blessing in disguise. I don't have to speak to a person, especially if you want a special order and you can leave a note and you don't have to ask for it because you ask for something that you want. You want a little special pickle added to your burger that they don't normally put on there. And then the person rolls their eyes and scoffs and it acts like they're making their life the hardest thing in existence. And then you feel bad that you want the pickle. But when you put it in the little note section, you don't have to see any of that. It still happens, but you don't have to be privy to it.
I'm not saying that not having to be face to face with somebody or even just over the phone speaking to them directly, not having to do that has its advantages. But if you don't want to pay for cable anymore and you just are going to keep paying for it because you just don't want to deal, then it's kind of...
You know the amount of shame that comes when you call the cable company and you say, hey, do you have any different deals because I don't like paying this much? And they say, no, not for you. And you say...
And you're like, all right, well, then I'm out.
You say, okay.
No,
then you hang up the phone. Or if you can pull the trick. You can say, oh, I'm gonna quit that. And I'm going to cancel my service. Thinking, no, sir, please stay. And they say, okay.
Well, then, all right. Then you're getting what you want. You don't have to pay.
Yeah, but then there's no alternative, which really blows my mind. Here in New York.
Oh, for like different areas where it's like, this is only Comcast land.
Here in New York, it's block by block. My neighbor across the street could have Verizon, but it's not available on my side of the street. So I'm stuck with Spectrum, for example.
Is that a way for, do you think they work that out together? Say like, this is my turf and you can have this turf if I can have this turf.
There's something at play. Surely there's something at play. But I think overall...
They're all fighting in a warehouse, like one guy that represents...
This is low level. This is low level stuff. Like when it comes to courage...
T-Mobile's in there like, come on, guys, let me in.
I think I can be a courageous person. I think of examples of what I view as courage in my life. And it's usually when I did things that I didn't want to do or put myself in a situation I didn't want to be in because someone else was being bothered. For the most part, if it's just me and I'm the only one who's affected, like these things we're talking about, again, even though they're low level and inconsequential for the most part, I will just leave it be. Though if somebody came at me and I had to do something, sure. I don't know if actually a situation like a guy coming up with a gun and wrestling the gun away and shooting him in the kneecaps, I don't even know if that really counts as courageous. Does it?
Yeah. I think it does. Why wouldn't it? What's your argument against it, would you say?
Because to me, courageous act it's more of an instance where I need to do this thing that scares me a bit and is uncomfortable and could be difficult, but it could get me to a better place.
Like staying alive?
Whereas, if someone has a gun, you don't have to wrestle it away and shoot them. You can stay alive otherwise.
And that's also courageous.
Though I know I would beat myself up after. I'd be like, you fucking coward, you loser. You just let that person do that. But it's probably the smart thing to do.
I think that would be a normal thing for people to feel. To feel sort of ashamed that they didn't fight, protect themselves or something. That makes sense. Not just not even for a man. I think for a man, it may hit a little harder than being a woman in that situation, because as a woman, I'm assuming that the person robbing you is a man. I guess I shouldn't assume, but I'm gonna assume.
It is a man, because if it was a woman, then I feel as though I wouldn't want to beat them up.
Man, so women really should be robbing people. Ooh, but you got to pick the right person, because as a woman, you don't want to rob a dude that looks really like, who has like no problem beating up a woman. You got to look for, you have to look for the intellectual.
It's not as cool after the fact though. So if you do beat up a woman, even if she has a gun to your head and you get out of that situation, it doesn't feel good. It's not as cool to me.
I mean, even in the new Star Wars, doesn't like Snoke or somebody make fun of Adam Driver for like getting beaten by a girl?
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember anything Snoke said because he was pointless.
Absolutely pointless.
He was supposed to be something that he didn't become, but that's a whole other thing because what's his name came back to do the third movie when they should have just stayed in the direction of the second movie.
Luke?
No, but whoever directed.
Oh.
Who they bring back? JJ? You're supposed to know these things. You're a Star Wars
I know. Well, no, I'm not
connoisseur.
into the new. I'm not into the new stuff.
You're a Star Wars connoisseur.
I know, but I'm a Star Wars appreciator. It's the new stuff that is very bothersome, and so I don't like it. I don't like to treat it as canon.
Yeah, it was Abrams. They brought back J.J. Abrams because Johnson.
I thought like Favreau directed one.
No, he's always involved, but I don't think he directed.
Maybe I'm thinking of like Marvel stuff.
He's just always involved.
Okay, I don't know.
I think he directed the Iron Man, the first one. That got the whole thing going. But what's his name? Johnson. Ryan.
Oh, man, he fucked shit up.
No, that was good.
Johnson.
That was a good direction to go. Luke can't die. Luke. The problem is Luke is still around. That's the whole problem. That you don't have interesting characters outside of the main characters from the original movie. How about you get rid of these people and then you start to do something? But no. And he's trying to take them in that direction. And they listen to the fanboy whine asses. No. And then they bring in Abrams to just erase that movie.
Listen, what do you think Ryan Johnson did with that movie? He erased everything that like who Luke was. We didn't get to go in any direction that gave us a backstory, enough of a backstory of the new characters. It was still all leaning on the old characters. You're right. There's a lot. I mean, I think Red Letter Media said it the best when they said Star Wars is creatively bankrupt.
Yes, Red Letter Media, I'm going to give you my review.
Well, that's Mr. Plinkett. But
I'm
Red Letter
going to
Media
give you my review. Ryan Johnson's a fucking idiot.
No, you know when
Ryan Johnson is a fan of Red Letter Media.
You want to talk about being courageous? You take this beloved series, which really only has 3 installments that people like, and the rest is shit. Yet for some reason, it makes a lot of money to this day, and nobody
because it just plays on nostalgia, and it was such a moneymaker.
What he presented, sure, that's real life. If Skywalker's running a camp and the whole thing gets blown up and a bunch of people under his watch die, I would isolate too. I'd say I'm a failure at life. I can't get past this. I can't believe I allowed this to happen. I'm supposed to be the greatest. And that's what people didn't like, the fact that he wasn't still the greatest and he had to come back and redeem himself in a holographic form. Then he
Is
dissipated.
that the one where they go to that rich planet with the casino?
Well,
and they ride those CGI donkey horse?
That part's dumb. I'll give you that.
When that started to happen, I said, oh no. Oh no.
I can still appreciate though wanting to take this in a different direction. And then it just got pulled back. And now we're at a spot where nobody cares. No one cares about Boba Fett. Mandalorian is hit or miss. Like that's the thing that people turn to and say, this is one of the best. Here and there it is. I don't know what the hell the latest one was. I forget. I didn't watch it.
Oh, it was Obi-Wan.
Yeah, boring, snooze
Which people
fest.
liked. People liked that.
And then I think that the Solo movie, that was good. That was fun.
It was fun. There was a lot of it that didn't make sense.
Sure, but it was fun. But there's already fatigue. And again, nobody wants someone else playing the role. They can't get past that. There's never been a more demanding, entitled fan base in the world.
Why did we have to know where Han Solo's name came from? Oh, you're by yourself? I'm going to call you Solo. Shut up. We don't need to know that. When he meets Chewbacca, and he's like, what's your name, Chewbacca? No, I'm not going to call you that. I'm going to call you Chewie. You shut the fuck up. We understand Chewie comes from Chewbacca. It's just a shortened.
There was bad writing. But I think
really bad.
I think in these situations, especially with Star Wars, to stick to our theme or topic, taking it in a different direction, you're going to piss people off. Now,
I don't think that Ryan Johnson was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You know, he and Luke, I'm sorry, he and, what's the guy who plays Luke?
You call yourself a fan. Get out of here.
I'm not, because I'm trying to stay on track. I'm trying to. Ugh. Just help me. What is it?
No, I'm not talking to you about that.
I just forgot because I'm trying to stay on track in my vein of thinking, and I'm not distracted by people's names.
Joker.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that'd be a clue that helped you.
Yeah, I know who he is. I just don't remember his name. God damn it. Mark Hamill?
Yes.
God, listen, I'm just an old woman who can't remember people's names. So leave me alone.
So
now you got me all fucked up because I don't remember what I was going to say now.
Well, someone needs to stand.
You wouldn't just help a sister out by handing me the name real quick.
Because you have to flaunt yourself. Know it all.
Flaunt myself.
You flaunt yourself an encyclopedia of Star Wars.
I do not. I've never.
You've claimed yourself to be.
As that.
You've claimed yourself to be the greatest fan. You say greatest fan in the world, number one fan. You have T-shirts and hats and mugs, and that's your handle on the message boards. And you can't even remember Mark Hamill.
Murder you. I'm gonna have the courage to murder you one day.
Well, I want someone to stand up to these fans, these so-called fans who think they know what's best. They should just abandon the whole thing, really.
That's the thing, is that they should have had the courage to say, you know what? We don't need any more Star Wars. Leave it to the little animated stuff that was very popular and is considered canon, like and explained a lot of backstories and even helped out with explanations from episode 1 because it's such a piece of shit movie. They sort of flesh things out from there. They flesh out Anakin. That they should just leave it.
Well, what about?
It was a thing. It happened. They haven't made E.T. 2 because Steven Spielberg isn't a hack.
Well, it's tough to franchise it and make millions and billions of dollars off of it. It's the only reason there's
E.T.'s family vacation.
I would like the crossover event. E.T. and meets Mac for Mac and Me.
I've never seen Mac and Me. I've only seen the clip that they play for Paul Rudd.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
They should abandon the whole thing, but there's too much money on the table. And there's some people who care about the story, but they can't get the story straight. And
it's horrible.
You're talking about sticking with canon, but they introduced the Force as being something along the same lines as syphilis.
Oh my God.
Where it lives in your blood. So
I need a midichlorian count.
So it's
shut the fuck up. Where he's got even more midichlorians than Master Yoda.
Well, someone who speaks out against it too. Just thinking of film critics, not even the fans these days. There's so many film critics. And I think quite often they think that taking a stance against something, maybe outside of Star Wars because it's so polarizing, but something that's popular and shitting all over it. I was the one who was brave enough to tell the story that people didn't want to tell about that film. But that in itself is self-serving. And I don't want to get too far into this because I think it falls into my feelings on humanity, especially people online. But there's so many movie critics these days, whereas before it was at least newspapers. You were hired by a newspaper or a magazine. You wrote it. There was a limited number, but anyone can do it these days. So it's just people grasping at ways to become noticed and to stand apart. So I can't even buy into that stuff anymore. And so these people who fancy themselves the brave ones who tell it like it is, like, yeah, sure. I don't even know if you believe what you're writing. I think you're just saying things.
I agree. I think, there's got to be some people online that you trust that have been reviewing something for long enough. Like you have almost a relationship with them and you trust that they're not not getting paid by a studio to get early access to things. And so they'll give it a good review. But yeah, it is a relationship. You have to know, oh, this person is like that. So I don't trust their review. Or probably what's happening is that normal people don't even think about it. They just hear someone talking about it and they're like, yeah, that, they don't have their own either thoughts or, you know how people are with movies. They just walk away from it. I liked it.
I do go to Rotten Tomatoes, and if I see something like not even the reviews, but just the rating before I go see a movie and it's lower, It gets in my head, and it's harder for me to give the movie a chance. So I try to stay away from it. And I hate the fact that there's
that makes total sense.
I hate
You
there's-
should come up with your own ideas first and then bounce them off the wall and see what sticks. But when I just always hated my bless him, my dad does this where he'll talk about a movie and I'll say, yeah, I'll criticize it, not as in like shit on it for no reason, but I'll say things that were good and some things that bothered me or whatever. He's like, I don't know, I just don't think that deep about it. Like, yeah, that's the problem. We should be. What are you doing then? Just staring at lights?
Well, maybe some people don't want to think that deep about it. I don't know if it's necessarily a problem. And most people.
And I'm not thinking about. You're right. It's not a problem. I'm not thinking too deeply about it, but it's like eating a food and saying like, I liked the consistency, and that's all I paid attention to. Like, no, I liked the flavor. It had it was salty at first, and then it got sweet, and then there was a tartness. What was that? Was that a lemon? Ooh, the acid. You pay attention to things.
I do think expressing your opinion, if you've got one. I don't think your dad. You think your dad has an opinion? He doesn't. It's like he's not holding back. He just doesn't have an opinion on things.
I don't think he has an opinion on things.
I think he has some opinions. Politically, he has opinions.
Again, though, it's strange. Like talking to. So I guess my dad's a boomer, a baby boomer, and so is my mom.
Ugh.
Yeah, fucking boomer. But it's funny how they were the hippies, and now they'll say things like, "Oh, look at Annette Funicello, like she got fat." You're like, shut the dad. Stop talking about how that she's fat. It seems like that hippie mentality was just, that was just a 8-year time span where I had an open mind and thought about things. Now it's just, nope.
Well, real life happened. Real life happened.
Oh, a lot of Mexicans live in this neighborhood. What the fuck? What?
Yeah, there's a shift quite often when people get older.
I'm not racist against Mexican. Like, then why are you bringing it up? I don't think you're racist, but it's like, why is that a thought?
There's 0 point to bring it up. Right. Why are you pointing that out? What's your motive then? What do you want me to take from that comment?
And then people feel attacked. Oh, no, I don't know.
I do feel like expressing your opinion in certain situations, depending on what it is, I guess. Like, to me, I don't talk about things that I really like. I will talk about it amongst certain people, but generally to an audience of people that I don't really know or care about, something like music, movies, books, anything that moves me. I don't know if this is cowardly, but it's I don't want to make any kind of statement because somebody who comes at it has so much power that they can ruin it. So I guess it is cowardly because why am I not confident enough in my convictions? Like, for example, the Tom Petty song Walls, which came out in like 1996 and it's considered late in his career. I think it's an overlooked song. It's a nice, fun pop song, and it was included on the She's the One soundtrack, so I think that did it in a bit too.
Okay.
But I was listening to it, and I was like, I really like this song. This is a really good song. The chord progressions, the backup vocals, it's catchy, all the different instruments that are used in it. It's like, I like this song, and it makes me feel good. And then I thought, I want to share this opinion with people. It's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not bringing it up, because if I do, then somebody either is going to not feel the same way and shit on it.
Or like shit on you. Like, Walls? You like Walls?
Which happens quite often with music, because people's, what I like, my tastes are the best tastes. Yours are watered down and basic. Or you put someone on the spot and someone likes you, and then they have to pretend they like it or give you some canned response. Because I think ultimately that's what it is. I don't know if it's cowardice, but when you're moved by something, you want to share it with another person. But really, is anyone going to have the same connection and feel the exact same thing that it's making you feel? No, they're not. So in my mind, I've decided, what's the point? I'm just going to enjoy this. You can try.
Yeah. I think that it's the same reason why you can't call the cable company or your bank.
Because A coward.
It's not because the same. It's not.
Cowardice.
It's not the same chapter, but it's the same book.
Hey, well, there's situations in my life that I've talked about before where, again,
You've been very brave.
and it's usually when something's happening to someone else, but I've told the story before on the train where there's this guy and he's ranting and raving and he knocks this woman. She's sitting with her legs crossed and he knocks her leg off and he's
Yeah, that's fucked up.
calling women nasty names like slut and skank and whatever else. And I was listening to some kind of music and I took out one of the earbuds. I just stared at him. We made eye contact and he was shouting at me and threatening me. And I didn't say anything and I just kept that eye contact until we pulled up to the next station. And I said, touch another woman, I'll rip your goddamn face off. And then he got off the train and I felt very pleased.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
But there's other examples of that. So it does exist in me.
Because it's for other people.
Yeah.
You can't do it for yourself.
I mean, I moved to New York. That was a pretty brave thing to do.
Yes, that's very brave.
Without a
But you
job.
didn't have to. Well, I guess you had to deal. You had to deal with a lot.
That moving here with no job and just, I'll figure it out.
Yikes, how did you do that?
It's probably not something I would normally do. But then again, I don't know. I do feel like I had nothing to lose at that point. I didn't feel like I was losing much. I think
But really, all these examples, you have nothing to lose.
you have your life to lose. You're talking about the train when I guess
No, not that.
I guess that's the thing. There's not a motivating factor that's strong enough to get me into action. I'm like, yeah, what do I have to gain? I guess what I have to gain isn't pushing me enough to risk.
Because you don't. But to risk what? What are you really risking?
Well, just to move past the fear, because what is courage? It's feeling fear and moving past the fear and doing something that you maybe wouldn't want to do otherwise.
Yeah, I think part of it is something that you need to be able to accept that you have wants, and even though they're not needs, but they're wants, and you're allowed to approach whatever company and ask them for what you want. But for you, wants aren't as important. They're getting more important for you, but they haven't reached this level, I guess.
I'll continue to pay the $20 a month for the gym membership I never use because I deserve to pay that because I should be going to the gym. That's a big part of it too.
Yeah, that's a silly way.
I think that's all that this section of it is a silly thing to focus on. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were talking about,
I think it's interesting, but I understand it's not necessarily on topic.
I mean, it's not. It ties in a way, vaguely.
Yeah.
But when this word first came up, I brought up mountain climbers. Are they brave? People who do their devilish acts. And I guess if you're going off the definition where you're pushing past fear.
But what if you like the fear?
That's a good question. I mean,
And then oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, what motivates people to do things? Like,
I think honestly, there are a lot of people who either are in recovery and are daredevils like that, or they've never indulged enough in a drug or alcohol or something to like get them addicted, and the way that they get that same rush or whatever they're lacking from that they're not getting from alcohol or drugs, they get it through cliff diving and stuff. Like test pilots are notoriously they have the gene,
I don't
the
know.
alcohol gene.
If you look at Neil Armstrong, the most straight-laced dude,
Right,
even
because
keeled.
He got into that. If he hadn't, then maybe he would have.
I don't know. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think overall there are people who he was just the way he approached things, like, just my job. I don't know. I'm just doing it. He didn't seem to get that. Like, there's a lot of the times There's interviews.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
There's interviews with these guys and the way they speak, and they're always animated. And yeah, dude, life is most amazing when you're up there on the peak. It's like, okay, I can't deal with you right now. You're coming at me with too much. And there are people who are
Well, at that point, it seems disingenuous.
Well, it's not even that. It's possibly it is. I don't know what it is, but they're trying to push it on you and say that you're missing out, and there's nothing like. There's other people who are just very matter of fact about it, and they're like, I'm just doing this. But I think they're the ones that you probably don't hear about as much. Neil Armstrong.
Oh my God! Do you know those guys that are on a bicycle and then they're on those like skinny little paths where it's like on either side of them is a dangerous cliff? Have you seen those videos? And it's always like a POV from their helmet or something.
No, but I've watched other just even mountain biking.
Okay, but it's okay. So if you picture that, right, it's this POV, skinny little trail, and they're on a side of a mountain, you know, and they're going quickly. Sometimes they have to make these like hairpin turns, and I've only ever seen them and either no audio or music, you know, or something behind it. And the other day I saw one where it was the person's like helmet recording, like they're talking to themselves, and it was so endearing. He was like, okay, don't mess up here, gonna go fast, don't, it's very skinny here, they gotta turn, don't turn too fast, you know. Like, he wasn't like, it didn't seem like a brave act anymore. It seemed like he was actually really scared.
I'm sure, but that's part of it, right? You get scared and then you push through that and you find yourself.
Yeah, because afterwards, like, yeah, I did it. He's like, I survived. Well, you know, whatever it's called.
You get in a situation where it's like too late to back out now, so I have to move forward with this.
Yeah.
And
you can't panic. It's like you really have to push that panicking. You have to push it way down, because if you panic, you will die.
See, I see the appeal. I could get into it because it also eliminates overthinking. It's like, there's no time for that right now. I can't overthink this. I can't sit here.
Right, you can't overthink it.
I just have to move forward. And moving to New York.
Like that was childbirth a little bit.
Well, moving to New York for me, I think, was some of that. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to fall down a mountain. I could just return back to Atlanta. But when I moved here, I didn't think about it. I was just, like, I look back and it's like somewhat naive, because I didn't think about any of the million things that could go wrong. It's like, I don't know, I'm just going to do this. And you just move forward. You bring up childbirth. You don't really have a choice at that point.
Well, that's the thing, though, because when you're in the middle of labor, it can be so painful. And there are times when you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And it's like, no, you've got to do it.
There's no backing out.
There's that ring of fire that you have to push through. Like, the way to get through the ring of fire is to sort of jump through it. Like, don't hang out in the ring of fire. You gotta go through it. The ring of fire is the head coming out. It hurts. It stings really bad.
I would just have a C-section. I'd say, cut me open.
That's totally legit. You should, if that's how you choose to give birth, you should do that.
Get it out. I'm not pushing.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that constipation.
It was so awesome, though. It was horrible, but it was so, again, like being scared on the skinny trail in your mountain bike. You know, it was scary and not fun, but it was to me, it felt like such an accomplishment.
And it is. Like, I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I felt like that was an accomplishment because it was something I'd put off for years. I walked the streets after getting my wisdom teeth taken out thinking I can take on the world. I can do anything. The power is in my hands. It's so ridiculous. But that it was something I was scared of because of childhood trauma of having other teeth pulled.
Oh, my God. And them lying to you?
Well, my parents, yes, my permanent teeth were growing in behind my baby teeth, so they weren't pushing them out, for anyone who doesn't know. So I had shark teeth coming in, and my parents didn't tell me that I was going in to have my teeth pulled out. I thought it was a cleaning, and then they strapped me up to the gas, and the needles came out, and I had no clue what was happening. So really,
see,
I know it
is your parents, whoever, not being able to deal. Right? Like, we're just not going to deal with that. We're just going to tell him something else, and then he's going to deal with it.
So yes,
I don't have to deal.
That planted a seed when it came to oral surgery, and I put off getting my wisdom teeth taken out until I was 29, and then I did, and I didn't care, and I thought it was actually pretty interesting.
It is interesting.
I just had the gas, and that nitrous oxide really makes you not care. It's like, I don't give a shit. I know this man is sawing my tooth in half, and I don't care.
I want to be. I had my wisdom teeth out, and they put me out. I was glad.
That's what most people do. I didn't want to do it because that scares me more, being put under. Even though it's not the same as full anesthesia, I know that, but I don't want it.
Talking before we end, I want to make a point about mountain climbing that we never got to.
You just want to shit on Everest?
Yeah, I just want to shit on Everest real quick.
You want to bring up that Mount Everest. So, well, mountain climbing.
It's so romanticized. It's ridiculous.
Well, it used to mean something. To get to that, wrap up the people who do these things, base jumping, like those free climbers. That is insane. It is absolutely insane to me that they're just doing this on a sheer cliff, sometimes an ice cliff with no safety mechanisms, and they do it, and I'm sure the rush is there. Is it courageous? In a way it is, yes. And these are probably people who would act in other situations where their lives would be at risk. So, you can't discount it. It is.
It's brave in its own way.
It is. But I mean, the motive.
Also, there's maybe like there must be sort of like a gradient of courageous to stupidity.
Well, there's the motivations too, or like there's a wide array of motivations. Some of it is recognition, and people just want to prove that they're better than others. Some people want to prove things to themselves, and they want the challenge.
Like the mountain is a physical manifestation of how they feel about their father.
But on that note, you can jump to Everest. Everest did mean something at some point.
It did. But also, weren't the Nepalese people that lived there, weren't they able to do this far before white people were trying to do it, or it became a tourist attraction?
Well, white people do things first, and that's when that counts in history.
Right.
Discovered America. The people were living there, huh? Nah.
Yeah, the whole thing is like the way that you get to the top of Mount Everest is on the backs, not literally, but metaphorically, of your Sherpa.
So I'm looking this up.
Fuck you for thinking that you did something by being, a millionaire who are the only people who can afford to climb Mount Everest.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about the history, but what I see here,
it's extremely expensive.
Sir Edmund Hillary and his Sherpa, Tenzing Norgay, were the first two to climb it. I know it does seem strange that there weren't people in the past, Nepalese people, who climbed the mountain, but it does seem these two were the first. I know these days
they might have been like, well, I don't need to go up there, so why the fuck? Who cares?
It is amazing in the history of humanity that no one else had made it up there. But you're right. Something changed. And somebody, at some point, Sir Edmund Hillary, I have a lot of money and I'm bored with life. So I need to prove something. I need to prove my worth.
No. Hold on. For this person, I don't know. That could be a way of thinking. I think it could also be that this person, it was their hobby and they wanted to challenge themselves, and they had been challenged in climbing all these other mountains or something that were also difficult. And he thought, this one, I'm going to do this one. And it is an extremely difficult thing, and it's very dangerous. But so maybe the original intent isn't as like what you're saying, where it's like just for recognition. I feel like now that's what's happening. Because if you're an experienced mountain climber and you go to Everest to climb it, you're just waiting in line. Have you seen the pictures? You can only do it for a month out of the year when the weather is decent. And so,
and then even on the ascent, sometimes you have to wait for the clear day, and there's so many people doing it. Yeah.
Right. And from China, from India, they're all coming to do it, and you're just waiting in line. And it's full of litter and
dead bodies that are markers.
Dead bodies. Well, that's the other thing, is that it, like I said, I feel like it's been so romanticized that it's lost all credibility once you just scratch the surface a little bit. You're like, oh, it actually is really stupid now. I think at some point it probably still was difficult or whatever. But again,
it's still dangerous.
it's the Sherpas. You're getting up there because there are people who live there in that altitude who can handle it, and you fucking can't.
It's
so
still
don't
dangerous.
Act like you did it. I climbed Mount Everest. No, it was you and,
it's still
your
dangerous
friend.
and it's still difficult. But yes, it's big business now. People spend a lot of money, and there are so many people who make it to the top. I know the picture, the line, and I'm sure this happens more often, but the line to get to the peak was very, very long. And then you have to come down like the similar way. And then when there's so many people up there, somebody who can't properly go down a ladder when time is pressing because a storm is coming in.
Right, because an irreparable company hosted them and they weren't experienced enough. So then they can't get down the one ladder that is like being used by hundreds of people. And then, like you said, a storm comes in and it puts everyone at risk. It's like, why the fuck are you doing this? This is so stupid. Your views. You're not accomplishing anything anymore.
You're still accomplishing something.
Yeah, but not like it was.
Your views for this came from watching a TV show, Everest Beyond the Limit.
I enjoyed watching that show, and then later I started thinking about like, this is so dumb.
Which is just a reality show that documented people going to the top of Everest.
Yeah, and it was full of, and then when I do remember when I was watching it originally, I was like, man, this is a lot of money. And this is so
How much time do I have left? If you do not have the strength to go to the summit, I don't want you to die.
I got plenty of oxygen to get me up and back.
You can't climb a mountain on your hands and knees. Now turn around.
But he still goes up. He disobeyed. He still went up.
And also there's no stakes because you're not going to watch that show and be like afraid that the person's going to die. They ain't dying. They're not going to show you the death of someone from the show.
Somebody may die, though. People died on The Deadliest Catch. So they could have showed you.
Not during the show.
I think during the show.
No, the one guy had a clot go through his heart or something, but he survived that. And he didn't know until later that that's what had happened.
Somebody could have died and they still would have done the show. They probably would have been respectful about it. But
no, I feel like if somebody died, that they wouldn't air that season, or they would like edit up to that and say like, just like when Snooki got punched, they edited it out.
Well, what you really liked about this show was the theme, if we can call it that.
Yeah. Be easy for us to start the expedition like this.
But there is little time for grieving. The weather loosens its grip on the summit for just 2 weeks a year, and the team must be ready.
That's a really, really cheap, lazy. You can't even call it a theme, but that was the title.
Yeah, what is that? It's like a computer voice.
It's the title card.
Time for grieving. The weather loosens its grip on the summit for just 2 weeks a year, and the team must be ready.
It sounds like a keyboard that can record things, like from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he's playing like that cough sound.
What a jingle.
Can I say that was a pretty good impression of that keyboard sound?
Do it again. Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know why that exists. I don't know why that sound exists.
Yeah.
Ever, rest.
And I don't even know how to tie in the Pinkberry theme now. But people
Well,
didn't.
it's a great theme song.
People didn't know. Because before the show, we were talking about... Well, I sang the Gummy Bear theme. Then we talked about themes a bit. And which I think brought up Everest. And then I said, most people don't know that Pinkberry has a theme. It's just close to the Mickey Mouse song. And it just spells out the name. Pinkberry. Pinkberry. But then there's a full 2.5 minute song that you've really taken to.
It's real. I love it.
Sorry, ice cream, I'm dreaming of a different dessert. Pink berry shaved ice and frozen yogurt. It doesn't feel like I'm cheating when I'm eating it, cause it's healthy. I feel better already. Tart and sweet, fresh
so
and airy.
sweet sounding.
Black straw and raspberry, succulent mango, tangy kiwi or pineapple. Topping up, swirly and fluffy, was a dream. Sorry, ice cream, I'm on my way to Pinkberry. Sorry, ice cream, I'm on my way to
Anytime I walk past a Pinkberry now, this song sticks in my head, pops in my head. I sing it to myself. Anyway, take us out. I'll let this play. This will be our theme to wrap up today's show.
Thank you for joining us today. Today on One Topic. I hope you liked it. You should download and recommend to all your friends. You can support our podcast if you go to hoffandpepper.com and use our code OneTopic15 to get 15% off. Go check it out. Thank you so much. I love you. Goodbye now.
And free, yummy. Pinkberry.